Welcome to Freedom at the Top, the podcast where professionals from various industries come together to share their journey towards reaching peak potential. I'm your host, Rafael Ramos, and I'm excited to dive into insightful conversations with our guests. With Eagle Summit Equity, this podcast aims to inspire and empower you to reach new heights in your personal and professional life. So sit back, relax, and let's enjoy the journey towards freedom at the top. Welcome to the show today on Freedom at the Top. We have Dr. Jason Balara as our honored guest today. About Dr. Jason Balara, he is the CEO and co-founder of Lark Capital Group and host of the Know Your Why podcast, and honored to be his guest previously. Jason is a veterinary surgeon with extensive experience and training in his field. He additionally has many years of experience in real estate investing on the residential side with single-family fix and flips and small multifamily rentals. As a real estate syndicator and fund manager, Jason is focused on Class B and C multifamily and small businesses in order to achieve excellent returns for his investors. Lark Capital is also raising awareness within his community. Jason, may you please share a little more about Lark Capital Group's awareness involving with the community as well?
Yeah, what that's in reference to, and first, thanks for having me on, Rafael. I'm excited to talk today and really appreciate the invitation. So, what you're referring to is our fund. It's called the Lark Veterinary Impact Fund. And the idea with that is to raise awareness on a couple different levels. The community is the veterinary community. I sort of live in, I guess, two worlds, the veterinary world and the real estate world. But within the veterinary community, there's an unfortunately high rate of suicide and mental health issues. And so the statistic, the one always sticks in my head is female veterinarians are 3.5 times more likely to commit suicide than the general population. So it is one of the highest suicide rates amongst all professions, and there's a number of reasons for that that I think people outside the profession don't know. And so for me, there's sort of three pieces to the awareness of our within our fund. One is just awareness amongst veterinarians about investing and learning about financial freedom and sort of business management, whatever we can help with on that side as far as education. As veterinarians, we go to school for a long time. It's a lot of training, and there isn't a lot of time to learn about finances and business and all of that. And I've just taken to that, personally been very interested in educating myself on that. So that's a road I've gone down over the last few years to really kind of increase my awareness behind financial literacy. And so I want to spread that to other veterinarians. I also want to raise awareness in the sense that there are struggles within the veterinary community that maybe people outside of it don't know about. And so we're doing that by partnering with an organization called Not One More Vet. That's an organization whose complete objective is to help veterinarians with mental health problems and things like that. And so Not One More Vet, we're donating a portion of the profits from the fund to Not One More Vet as part of our mission. So a long-winded answer to your question, but that's kind of what we're referring to in terms of raising awareness.
Thank you, Jason, on that. Yeah, I'm mind blown about knowing about the community and just the impact this does have and what's going on as well within the industry. So thank you for sharing on that. Is it possible to also share, I guess, involving success stories or other impacts the fund did have within or since inception of our fund?
Yeah, the fund is in the grand scheme of things relatively new. It's been launched for, I guess, we're about 8 months now. What we started that off, right off the bat with a couple of things. There's something called the Veterinary Financial Summit, which is relatively new, but something that we sponsored and we're a part of as far as speaking to other veterinarians. It's actually, if anybody is a veterinarian listening, it is a great conference, and they do it virtually, so it's easier to attend. So we sponsored that. We sponsored the Not One More Vet Gala. They have an annual sort of charity raising gala with speakers attending, and so that was a nice thing. And we sort of made an initial donation to Not One More Vet as part of that, just to sort of kick things off with the fund. Of course, when you're investing, really the main reason to invest in anything is to grow your wealth, to make money. That's no one, in my opinion, you shouldn't invest in something just for the sole sake of the charity component, because you can donate to whatever charity you want. So from a financial standpoint and impact, the good thing is our investors are already cash flowing and receiving distributions on a monthly basis. So I'm very proud of that in today's current environment. It's a challenging place to be in with real estate right now, and so finding a way to make people some money, I think, is actually a big win. So I'm happy about that as well.
Thank you, Jason. I really appreciate more information on the impact of the fund as well. Let's dive into about your history and some of your achievements. So you did share becoming a surgeon and owning multiple businesses. May you please start what motivated you to become a surgeon and then later become a business owner, then in real estate investing, how your journey?
Yeah. And it's funny because like I said, it's almost like I live in two different worlds in a way, but I've actually been in construction and real estate construction since I was a teenager, and I bought my first house in my early 20s, all with the idea of, I don't know that I knew to call it investing. I didn't know all of the terminology behind it. And in fact, I don't think the terminology was necessarily there then. People talk all about house hacking and burrs and things like that. Yes. Everything has a name. I did all of those things. They just didn't have names. House hacking is having roommates because it helped you afford your mortgage. So I did that on my first house and many houses actually. But so I worked for contractors. I worked for an electrician. I learned the construction trades, sort of throughout my teens and 20s. I was also the kid who always wanted to go to vet school and be a veterinarian. I loved animals. And to be honest, when I left college, I wasn't undergrad. I wasn't 100% sure which path I was going to follow, whether that be in construction and real estate or going on to veterinary school. But I am originally from Boston, and winters are cold there. And what I knew of construction then was that I had to be outside, and I didn't want to be outside in the winters in New England. And so I thought going to vet school made more sense. Very happy that I did. I didn't know at the time, I didn't even know that there were veterinary specialists. I didn't know I could pick a thing and pursue that thing. And so I discovered that in vet school. I had some really great mentors in vet school that sort of helped me find my passion. I sort of jokingly say that I'm just kind of an overeducated carpenter. I do a lot of orthopedics and fix bones and things like that. And I spent the better part of yesterday fixing bones. So it's very, very much to me like being in construction. I really, it's at a different level, but in terms of the actual combining of art and science, they're very actually very similar. And so for me, it always happened in parallel. I was always, sort of interested in being a vet and then pursued that. But the whole time I was still working in construction or working on my own houses and renovating them and then, selling them. So it all went together for me, but I think most of the people that knew me on one side or the other. And then in 2020, we had, our son was a year old, and everybody remembers 2020 for the pandemic. This actual shift had no bearing from the pandemic for me. It was just a timing in our life where we had a 1-year-old son. I was working a lot as a veterinarian, and with being a veterinary surgeon comes a lot of hours and being on call. And I was realizing that I just didn't like how much that was taking me away from my family, and wanted to look at, sort of getting into investing more, I guess, at scale is probably the best way to put it, rather than just, hey, we're going to renovate our house and increase the value and, flip one house here and there. That I wanted to look at it at scale. And that's when I came across syndication and started doing that, and have grown. That's when we started Lark Capital, was in 2020, and we've sort of grown that business since then. And then, like I said, we launched the fund in Q3 of 2023.
Wow, congratulations, Ethan.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I appreciate for sharing the journey. Let's dig in, involving how you transition from house hacking to businesses to real estate investing and now syndication on scale. What was the light bulb moment motivated I want to go to scale versus or stay currently like house hacking, for example?
Yeah, I mean, the motivation to scale, I think, really did come from, well, I guess it was two steps. The motivation to get more serious about real estate investing than I had been. I didn't know exactly what that looked like when I started that journey in 2020 to grow something. Initially, I was going to do single family rentals, but I did, kind of, I guess, what everyone should do when they first decide they want to get into it as an active investor, is I started just educating myself through books and podcasts and networking, things like that. And so it was actually a podcast that I came across syndication, as far as that being a model. And it was very, very appealing to me because I had thought about, like, okay, if I'm going to do single family rentals, how many of those do I have to buy? How long is it going to take me to get to 50 or 100 of those to be at a point where, the passive income from that would be able to sustain us? But then, when I heard about syndication and you can buy 50 units or 100 units or 500 units at one time in one transaction, that made a lot of sense in terms of scale. The other thing about syndication and sort of large scale commercial real estate is that you generally will have third party property management. And so it was a mindset shift for me to move away from being the DIY guy to being more of a CEO, which, to be honest, I still struggle with that every day. It's just, it's in my nature to just, I'll just do it, right? But ultimately, you're more effective as a CEO, and you can scale and grow companies by empowering others to sort of do their work and bring them into your vision. So that was, I think, really the idea behind getting into something that I could scale. The other thing is, like I said, I was working a lot of hours, had to be at the hospital, and I was on call. So I wanted something that didn't tie me to the OR, if you will. It didn't. And with real estate, I mean, if I wanted to, like, here's an example. My son just had his last day of school on Tuesday. If I wanted to not do surgery for the entire summer and travel with my family, I could do that and still do the real estate side of my businesses. So it's, you can kind of do real estate from wherever. So it was very much about time freedom.
Thank you, Jason. Really appreciate the light bulb moment. Thank you for tuning in to Freedom at the Top by Eagle Summit Equity. Have you considered how your money can work for you? Explore more about financial and passive investing on your terms. Enjoy freedom on your time with family and life. Visit eaglesummitequity.com today. As well, involving next achievements, it's want to dig into building how you like to build teams, and being a family man. Maybe please share, like, what's the best modeling of.
Oh, sure. I mean, building teams in business, to me, it's culture first. I didn't intentionally do this, but my two top level employees within Lark Capital are also from the veterinary world.
Wow.
They were technicians and doctor's assistants that I knew. So
Uh-huh.
turns out a doctor's assistant makes a really good executive assistant as well.
Wow.
She's phenomenal, and our investor relations manager is also from the veterinary world. And so hiring for culture and people that kind of can buy into and understand the vision is hugely important. There's a lot of things that can be taught, whether that's taught by me or taught by a training program or self-taught. There's a lot of things that can be taught. I think there reaches a point in business growth and scale that you do have to start then hiring people that maybe have skill sets already in place for certain jobs, but at the same time, culture still has to be the first thing. So if they're not going to fit, then it's not going to make sense if you want to grow. I think so that's as far as building teams. That's been my approach. It's always about who's going to fit, and then we can teach them, add on whatever skills, because I think in any position, even if you already know, kind of the bulk of what that job description might be, I think it keeps people engaged to allow them to continue and grow and learn. So regardless of whether or not they know everything when they start, you would almost want them to be able to, be someone who wants to continue to learn from there. So that's my philosophy. I also am very much about sort of empowering the people I work with. And this is in my veterinary surgery business as well. My techs, that business, I honestly don't know how we could be more efficient with the team that we have. We have a very lean team, but literally all I have to do is the surgeries. I just have to do the surgeries. My team does everything else, scheduling, they're the technician, they run the anesthesia, everything else. So I literally can be, in an OR on my laptop, catching up on emails, whatever, doing something on the real estate side. And when the patient's ready for me, I scrub in and I can go do surgery. And my team's that good. So, when you ask about how to build teams, I think it's an incredibly important process, and it may be a little bit different for everybody, but I think at the end of the day, if you will be able to achieve big things if you can build, a team around you that is like I'm very, very fortunate to have the teams I have both in my veterinary surgery business and with Lark Capital. So a lot of the credit goes to them. In terms of, I guess that the second part of that question was kind of impact on my family with that, or what? I maybe misunderstood.
Oh, no worries. No problem. One of your achievements that we shared previously was, I'm proud of my family. Just curious how just the great points that with you shared with your family.
That's there's so many things, I guess it's overwhelming because there's so many things I could say about my family. My family is my why. As you know, having been a great guest, my podcast is called Know Your Why, and and that all stems from my family. And it, of course, my wife and I were together a while before we got married, probably I think about 8 or 9 years, and then now we've been married coming up on 7 years. She, frankly, I would say, has saved my life on more than one occasion. She really is my support system, my rock. She's I love my kids, but like the most important team member I have is my wife for sure. And she's probably better than I deserve, but she's amazing. She is the CEO of our house. She keeps me on track. She keeps the kids on track. She's also the practice manager for my veterinary surgery business. So she's phenomenal. The kids are amazing. I always wanted to have kids, but I ended up not having them until later in life. I'm 49 right now. My son just turned, my oldest is my son. He turned 5 in January, and my daughter just turned 3. So I am
young.
Yeah, thanks. I have young kids, I think, for my age, I guess, if you will. They push me to be better. They push me to be to lead by example. They push me to be more patient. I am not by nature a patient person, and they have taught me that I need to be. They push me to find importance in things that directly relate to their future, which is why I get really passionate about real estate and financial freedom and financial literacy specifically, because I think that, none of us can go back in time, right? So interestingly, from a timing standpoint, I finished my surgical residency in 2008, right? Anybody in real estate knows what happened in 2008 with the crash, the Great Recession. So I got a job that paid me more money than I had ever seen in my life at a time when real estate was the cheapest it has ever been in the last several decades. And I did nothing with it. I didn't know enough. I did a little bit with it. I guess I shouldn't say nothing. I did a little bit with it because I bought houses and I fixed them and I sold them. So I always looked at it as an opportunity, but I looked at it as an opportunity on extremely small scale. If I had started even passively investing in syndication and commercial real estate in 2009, 2010, when I actually had a job that paid me a decent salary, I wouldn't have to work now. I would already be completely financially free. And so the lesson there is not like, oh, I didn't do it then, give up, forget it, it's too late now. The lesson is, one, if you're a young person listening to this, like, recognize that time is your most powerful weapon in when it comes to investing. And the second thing is, like, that it works, and that real estate has ups and downs, right? People lost money in 2008. People are losing money right now on certain deals. Yes. But it's if you can hang on, it comes back up and then exceeds. That's just how market cycles work. And I can't go back in time, but my kids are like my time machine, right? So my wife is the engine, the power, the strength behind the time machine, and the kids are the time machine. Kids are, I did a podcast episode on this, and I created a very simple spreadsheet that if anybody ever wants it, shoot me an email. But it's basically, you can plug in the number of X dollars to have invested by a certain age. And if it doubles every 5 years, which is on average kind of what we expect, even from a passive investment, how much will my kids have when they're 60 and 70? And it's not that hard to see them as billionaires just on passive income if I start them now. It just because of the power of time, right? My kids are 5. So how many doubling cycles between 5 and 60, right?
You're right.
It's not my intention to just leave them pot of gold. My intention is to teach them these techniques, because if I can do it by getting them started on passive income, and then they do amazing things in their careers and businesses, like, just think about how much of an impact that that ripple effect it can have. So that's a little bit of a long-winded answer to your question, but that's kind of my my approach to business is, like, I don't look at what it means for me right now. I don't care really what happens. Like, right now, it doesn't matter. What matters is 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road. And I think that's the perspective you have to have for any sort of, investing philosophy or business growth, because it's going to, sometime between now and then, and probably a lot of the time between now and then, it's going to be hard. And that's where you need to have that why to kind of keep going.
Thank you for sharing your whys and reasons to move forward, and just how your family is an analogy of everything put together to keep everything moving forward. But thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe dig into through your whole journey, if you can recall like a couple events where you did face challenges, a couple of walls. Like, how do you stay motivated, and how do you keep pushing forward? And maybe some learning lessons as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I in a way, I sort of answered how I keep pushing forward. It's because I look at this from, and I mean, that's a high level, you know, it's see my kids. But I think, you know, thinking about things from the long future, I think tactically, a lot of people don't talk about, you know, kind of the hard times. Like here in 2022, you know, first half of 2022 was like the height of the market. Everybody was, you know, closing deals and you know, paying people who were selling were making tons of money, and, you know, everybody hoped that was going to continue. And then they started to raise interest rates, and obviously that sort of, you know, put a halt on the market. I unfortunately had a deal under contract right at that summer of 2022 when interest rates started going up very rapidly. And the other thing that was sort of standard in 21 and 22 is putting down hard money, earnest money, so money that was non-refundable. Long story short, that deal fell apart because of interest rates, and we said that the price had to come down because interest rates had gone up so much in the time that we had it under contract, and the seller said no, and so we had to walk away, and we lost about $500,000 in earnest money deposit on that. So that was probably the first big financial challenge that I've like, the one that you know, maybe hurt the most amount of money, I guess you would look at it. There, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, so I've been far more financially challenged than that was, but still, I was very worried that my wife was going to leave me. I was very worried that my business partner was going to, you know, be really upset. And as it turns out, I have a pretty great support system, and my wife didn't leave me, and my partner was like, we'll just make it back, like this happened, that kind of thing. And what's interesting is since then, I've seen that be actually a big theme in a lot of people's social media and like other podcasts and things like that, where people do talk about the struggle, and interviewing people on my podcast that have been in this for a long time, you know, stories of, you know, not being able to get off the couch because of depression after having, you know, major financial losses. I went to a conference. The guy stood up and said he lost on a $25 million deal at one point. I think he had a lot more to lose than I did. But regardless, like, I was like, well, that makes my 500,000 seem small. Everybody in business, everybody in investing who is trying to do something big is going to face those challenges. And so your answer to the question is, as far as how do you keep going, I mean, you do have to have a strong why. I think if you don't have a strong why, I'm not sure how you would keep going if you didn't have something that was truly motivating. And for everybody, it's different. You know, for me, it's my family for sure. For some people, a lot of people, it's their family. But, you know, maybe you have the motivation of, your family may look different to one person or another. Maybe you have the motivation of, you know, you've escaped addiction, a battle with addiction, or there are people with you know, charitable causes that they're doing it for. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons that your why could be. And then tactically, you probably need help. Like realistically, like trying to do it all on your own and going through these struggles. And what I did after that is I got a business coach, and that was actually extremely helpful as far as you know, getting me through it, and not just, I think therapy is a great tool for people, but I haven't always felt, I've tried it before, I haven't always felt like it was great for me, because I like to be solution oriented, and so a business coach, which turns out to be a little bit like a life coach as well, was very results oriented, and here's the things that we need to do to get back on track, and that helps me. But do what helps you, in whatever form that looks like. And then you know, with that, when real estate kind of came to a screeching halt and we had that loss, what he focused on was let's build up my surgery business. Let's build. I have a mobile surgery business. Like, let's build up you need revenue and cash flow. Let's build that up right now and work, you know, focus there. And what that taught, that actually was kind of the birthplace of the fund, because our fund, within our fund, we buy real estate and businesses. And the reason why I thought about that is because it's what I wanted to do for my own personal portfolio. And then I thought, well, why wouldn't I do that for investors too? So, with real estate, there are levers you can pull. There's value add strategies, but it takes time. And in business, there's actually quite a bit in terms of, I think you can be a bit more nimble. There's more levers you can pull. You can change things more quickly to increase revenue or decrease expenses. It's a little bit harder to sort of see that change in real estate at a large scale on like a month-to-month basis, because you have residents and tenants involved in people's homes. So from a business standpoint, like if I want to, I mean, here's an example. Like if I want to dramatically increase the business in my surgery business, I just hire another surgeon, right? There's ways to kind of quickly, and then you can do more surgeries. And so it's like, there's ways to quickly scale businesses that I think, if done well, can have an impact faster than you might on a real estate deal, like a large scale commercial deal.
Wow. I really appreciate your journey and how you manage and move forward through the challenge. But it's amazing. So you have a great event happening at point A, then you decide to be resourceful or how to be better. Then all of a sudden you have the new fund that's impacting your whole community, and you're building both your business on your regular day and also on the real estate side. So it's amazing where, okay, you do have point A, but wow, you have all these other events that's doing way better. So I commend you for what you went through.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a lot of Vietnam. Involving, excuse me. Okay, you answered all those questions. Excuse me. Yeah.
That's fine.
Would like to go further. Is there anything you wanted to share that I did not ask or overlook to ask, involving about yourself, or just some wisdom with the audience?
I think your questions have been great. I think very, kind of thought provoking. So I really enjoyed the questions that you ask. I think, I guess from an advice standpoint is get started, right? That's the thing to me, that just knowing that time, the value of time, or the value of, I guess the value of compounding interest is maybe the most understandable piece of that, but really just comes down to time invested, whether that's in education and or invested, via the definition of the word, over time, that's how you're really gonna sort of grow your wealth, grow your knowledge, that kind of thing. And it's just, the longer you take to get started, the further you are from your goals.
Thank you so much. Let's go into a fun round of questions.
Sure.
So, first question: what is your favorite food or restaurant?
This is probably pretty boring, but I love pizza. I don't get tired of pizza. It's I feel it's like a universal food, right? You can change the flavor just by different toppings. So to me, I just think it's about if I'm ever unsure of what I would like to eat, I would go with pizza.
Oh, thank you. Do you have a specific flavor or topping that you like?
My go-to is sausage and onion. That's kind of my favorite pizza, and I'll put a this is going to make New Yorkers mad, but I think Boston has the best pizza I've ever had anywhere.
Wow.
Yeah. It's people in Chicago are going to get mad. People in New York are going to get mad. But I think Boston has like there's very few chain pizza restaurants. They're almost all locally owned mom and pop type pizza restaurants around Boston, and best I've ever had still.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I was honored to visit both New York and Boston. Yeah, they're great challengers to each other.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Big rivalries,
Nice.
cities, especially in sports.
yeah, I agree as well. Nice.
Yeah.
Next question. If you could have a deep conversation with a historical figure or fictional character, who would it be?
Well, he's still alive, but I would say Tom Brady.
Nice.
He's my my sports hero.
Uh-huh.
You know what? Being I'm a Patriots season ticket holder, so
Yeah.
yeah, I would say Tom Brady. If I get time to sit down and talk to him and just
Uh-huh.
you know his mindset behind what he did that'd be amazing. I don't know that I
Wow.
could speak because I would be like so overwhelmed and but I would love it.
Wow. Great person. Thank you. Last question. You could learn a new talent. What would it be?
I want to learn to play piano.
Nice.
Yeah, and I've wanted to learn to play. We have a piano. I bought a piano
nice.
with the intent of learning to play piano,
Uh-huh.
and just have it's still on the back burner. Can only manage so much in a day.
Oh, yes. I hope you have time later to have more fun.
Yeah, it'll happen. It'll happen.
Thank you. Thank you for being on the show. Involving any future opportunities or how to reach out to you. What is your main contact?
Yeah, the best thing is probably email. It's jason@larkcapital.com. People can go to the website, larkcapital.com, and schedule a call if they want. But yeah, you know, feel free to, anyone wants to email me directly, I'd be happy to chat or jump on a call or whatever.
Thank you, Dr. Jason. We'll also have in the show note Dr. Jason Balara's contacts as well. Perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Jason, for having us or having you on the show. And next time, we'll like to see you with the next episode on Freedom at the Top. Thank you again, Dr. Jason Balara.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning into Freedom at the Top. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe for more inspiring content. Feel free to leave us a review and share the show. Until next time, keep striving for greatness and aim for freedom at the top.